In this video, we'll be looking at expanding binomial products, and some terminology before we begin is what a binomial expression is. And this is an algebraic expression that consists of two terms. So we have k plus 3 in brackets and k minus 2. These are known as binomial expressions because they have exactly two terms. When we have them connected as such in the next line, k plus 3 bracket and then k minus 2, this is known as a binomial product because it is the product of the two binomial expansions, multiplying them out. So there are two methods that we're going to be covering today for expanding a binomial product. The first is the arrow method, or you might know it as the FOIL method. The next is what we call the area method. Both ways work, and I'll let you decide which way you prefer. So the first one we're going to look at is the arrow method, and as I always like to do, I'm going to rewrite our expression bigger. The next thing you want to do is draw your arrows. So you need to draw each of the front two terms, need to multiply by everything in the back. So on the top, we're going to have x times 2x and x times 5. On the bottom, we're going to have 3 times 2x and 3 times 5. So if we do the first smaller red arrow, we get x times 2x. Then we have the big red arrow, so x times 5. We do the smaller blue arrow, so 3 times 2x. And then we do the long blue arrow, and we get 3 times 5. Now this step that I've just written out, you can actually skip this if you want and go straight to what I'm about to write down now. So we have x times 2x, which is 2x squared. We have x times 5, which is 5x, 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and 3 times 5, which is 15. With binomial products, you need to make sure you're adding any like terms, and there should always be two like terms. So in our case, our middle two terms here are like terms, they're both x's. So we end up with 2x squared, and we have 5x plus 6x, so we get 11x plus 15. And that's your final answer. Now that is your arrow or your FOIL method. The next one I'm going to look at is your area method. So what you do on the top is you write down your first expression, and then on the side you write down your next expression. Now the reason this is called your area method is because we're going to find the area of each of these rectangles. So if I'm finding the area for this rectangle here, it's going to be 4 times 2m. So 4 times 2m, I'll write it up here, 4 times 2m, and we know that equals 8m. Now we need to find the area for the box to the right of it, so 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, negative 5m times 2m, negative 10m, and then finally 10m squared, and then we have negative 3 times negative 5m, which is 15m. Right, then we can write these terms out. I like to always have your highest power first, so we're going to have negative 10m squared. Then we can add our m's, so 8m, 15m, and then finally we write our normal constant down, the negative 12. We then look for our like terms like we did previously, and you'll notice that we have our m's here. So negative 10m squared plus 23m minus 12. So both ways work, it is up to you. I suggest practicing both until you find which you prefer. So we do have some special binomial products. The first one we're going to look at is what we call the perfect square. So this is a special binomial product where the binomial is multiplied by itself. So there are certain rules to make this a little bit easier, and you can see the two rules on your screen there. So we're going to expand this first one. So we know if we look up at our rule, we're using this rule here. So we need to square our first term, so we're going to have q squared. Then we're going to have 2 times our two terms times together. So if I go q times 10, that's 10q, and I need to double it. So 20q, and then we're going to square our last term, so 10 squared is 100. And that's it, we're finished. Alternatively, if you can't remember these rules, you can always fall back on using the FOIL or the area rule, because q plus 10 squared breaks up into q plus 10, q plus 10, and then you can draw your arrows and expand if you want using the FOIL method, or you could draw up your squares to do your area. Now, another special binomial product is the difference of two squares. So this occurs where the sum of the two squares is multiplied by the differences. So there is a rule for this, and as you can see, you have a plus b, a minus b, and your answer to this is just a squared minus b squared. So if I write down our example, you square the first term, so k squared, you add a minus, and you square the second term, so 3 squared is 9, and that's all there to it, these two. Again, you can do the FOIL method or the area method if you can't remember the formula or the rule. That also works. So to recap this video, remember, if you have k plus 3, k minus 2, or something like that where you get two binomial expressions, this is known as a binomial product because it is a product of the two binomial expressions. We're multiplying them together. There's two methods for expanding, the arrow method or the area method, and as we covered them, it is up to you to decide which one you prefer. Both ways I suggest learning, and then you decide. The first special binomial product was our perfect square, and there was two rules for that. And then we have the rule for the difference of two squares, which is on the bottom of the screen. Now remember, for these special binomial products, you can just fall back on the area or the arrow method if you wish. They both allow you to still find the solution. They're just maybe a little bit longer.